I would say our relationship significantly transformed when we got married.
Yeah.
Also, we did it very traditionally. We didn't live together. We tried our best to stay abstinent before marriage.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Wait, no. I think we should start here. I really do think we should start here.
Yeah.
Because that's very rare today.
That's something we're very passionate
You guys
about.
are very rare people. Well, and we like it.
So let's go into. We could start here. Actually, I have other ideas and topics of what I want to ask you guys, but we'll start here. So this was from a sermon from Michael Todd that I heard. It was inspired by another pastor, Miles Monroe, who broke down what God gave Adam in the Garden of Eden before He gave him Eve. And so it was 5 prerequisites, and I actually think he missed one, so I added another one. But it was number 1, He gave him an identity. He knew he was the image of God. Number 2, He gave him a place. He knew his place in the Garden of Eden. Number 3, He gave him a purpose. Number 4, He gave him parameters. And number 5, He gave him provisions.
Wow.
And then Eve came. But I actually added another one, which is He also experienced sacrifice because Eve came from his rib.
Yeah.
So that represents that every man's journey before being ready to be married, they have to know their identity.
Yeah.
They have to know their place. They have to know their purpose. They have to have provisions, resources. Finances.
Yeah,
they got to have a job or a business.
Especially if you marry someone like Talita.
And Camilla.
Yeah.
And
these South American women, man, they're expensive.
That's really beautiful.
I know, right? If you want a beautiful girl, get ready, make some money.
And so we took that very seriously. So we were together for 6 years. We were engaged for 2.5 years, long time. However, I told her after 4 days of hanging out, I was going to marry her.
Wow.
We kissed 4 days into hanging out. I had a supernatural experience. I've never had this. It sounds like a Disney movie, but it was real.
You can tell.
It was like this, whoa.
Same thing I felt with Talita.
Butterflies, and we literally stopped kissing, and I was freaked out because my stomach was it was exploding. I was like, what's happening? I've never felt this.
Do I need to go to the restroom?
And then she's holding me, and she's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't want to share because you don't want to sound like that needy guy 4 days later.
Yeah, I know.
I was always
I feel
playing
like
it
in love
cool.
with you.
And so then I was like, I don't want to share. She's like, no, you could share. And she was just very delicate and sweet and safe. And she was like, yeah, you could share. And I just felt like, all right, I guess I should go.
You just know.
And I said, this sounds crazy, but I'm going to marry you one day.
Yeah.
And she said, okay. And then I said, how does Maria Camilla Pinto sound? And she said, I like.
Okay.
She barely knew English.
I like. She didn't say I like it. I like.
I like. And ever since then, man, we had 3 really powerful we had a really powerful conversation. We touched on 3 things that night. Number 1, God comes before our marriage. In order for us to grow closer together, we both have to grow close with God. That's where we meet each other in a higher place.
Beautiful.
Number 2 is what you said. God's purpose for my life comes before us.
Yeah.
And number 3, I've struggled with sexual immorality and sexual dependency in my past. Previous sexual partners, chasing girls, all of that, lust, things like that.
Okay.
Right.
That was the first conversation that we had.
Wow.
And that set the foundation for our whole entire relationship from there. So we knew from that day we were going to get married. However, I didn't have my 6 prerequisites. So until I knew that I had those prerequisites, I refused to get married.
Yeah.
So although I knew, I didn't deserve her until I knew and I was living in my purpose. I didn't deserve her or earn her until I had my place, my identity, my provisions to be able to provide. Because the last thing I wanted to do was have her in a marriage and not be able to provide all of those things. And so I waited until that moment.